Fine. No problem at all.
There's been some real horror stories in the news.
Yeah, I mean, it was busy, but we didn't have any particular issues. No luggage was lost. No flights were cancelled or delayed.
Good heavens.
I think it was fine. It's fine.
1 more minute to go. A minute's a long time when you're watching the clock.
Yeah, we've also got Tim Seymour in. He's from the Avenue Lawn Tennis Club, and we've obviously got Lizzie Bullen for Down to Earth.
They're here now, are they?
Yep. Good. I'll let the guests in now, Chairman.
Yes, please. It's 2:30. Good afternoon, everybody. Councillors and guests and our officers present. The agenda circulated. Do we have any apologies for absence?
No, Chairman.
Thank you. The minutes were circulated of the last meeting. Does everyone agree that they are a correct record of the proceedings? So there is no dissent there. Are there any matters arising from that need to be discussed today? No, thank you. Item 3 is urgent business. Well, since this agenda was published, we do have an item of urgent business, but for the convenience of our guests, I would propose that we discuss this at the very end of the agenda. It may or may not require a great deal of time. So we'll go straight into public speaking, and I will be calling people to speak as their application comes up. See how you do. Then there's declarations of interest. I have 2. One declaration is the Apex Park application. I am one of the Friends of Apex, and this would be a prejudicial interest. The other interest is a personal interest, and I think our legal advisor would say possibly also prejudicial, is at the end, the West Huntsville Parish Council's application. My husband is a member of the West Huntsville Parish Council. If Dorothy, our solicitor, is present, could you confirm that that is a prejudicial interest?
If the parish council are obtaining financial or other benefit directly, then yes, it is most definitely a prejudicial interest. Because of the relationship, I'm not clear of what the relationship is between the pavilion and the parish council, so you might wish to declare a personal and prejudicial interest.
I will do so for the sake of transparency and to be absolutely clear on that. Councillor Lee Redman, your hand, is that?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it's in relation to the Down to Earth application. They came to the Town Council, Bridgewater Town Council. I was in the meeting, but I didn't take part in that debate, so I should be clear for that, but I just need to make that clear.
Thank you. Councillor Alan Matthews.
Yeah, similar to yourself, I'm a member of the Apex Park Friends, so I've got prejudicial interest in that.
I think for the Apex Park, both you and I, that's prejudicial interest. We will have to leave the room. I believe the meeting will still be quorate when that happens.
That's correct, Chairman, and we will try to get you in after that item. I'll try not
Thank
to
you.
forget.
Councillor Brown Bolt, you had your hand was up.
Yes, the final one, the Wemden Village Hall, it's within my ward. But I've taken no part in any conversations with regards to it.
That's probably just a personal interest where
Yes.
it does not debar you from speaking or voting.
No.
Thank you. Councillor Alan Matthews, is that a legacy hand?
Yes, sorry.
Councillor Graham Pearson.
Similarly, the Axbridge Pageant Trust is within my district ward.
But you do not take any part?
No.
So that's just personal stuff. So that's it. I can't think of anything else. Now we move on to item 6, which are the grants themselves. We do have some speakers for the representing the applications, and I think for the sake of convenience, would members agree that we invite the members, our guests, to go forward, even though it would take the agenda out of its normal kilter? So the first one, Down to Earth. Is there a speaker for Down to Earth?
Yes, Chairman, there's Lizzie Bull.
Thank you. Lizzie, can you hear us?
Hi, Chair, Councillor. I'm speaker for Friends of Apex, not Down to Earth.
Okay, thank you.
Apologies, Lizzie.
Then could we go on to the Avenue Lawn Tennis Club, and that's Mr. Seymour.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Tim Seymour.
Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you for considering our application as well. Yes, I'll just give you a very quick background. I'm actually very new in post. My partner and I moved down from Surrey earlier this year, and we've just taken over the coaching programs at the Avenue Tennis Club. And we're very keen to try to actually go much more into the community in terms of our coaching programs, particularly forging a lot more school links and a lot more links with disability groups locally. We're already making a few contacts in that area. The funding we're actually seeking is to try to actually get into schools during their curriculum time and some after school activities to actually enable them to experience tennis. And the schools for tennis are actually sort of very generic across all sports. Unfortunately, both schools and the disability organisation we're looking to target have been fairly severely affected by COVID. Physical literacy in children has been going down for many years anyway. And it's actually an opportunity for us to try and get into the schools just to try to assist them with this. We've got the support of the LTA with this and the the Somerset Active Sports Partnership. And we're trying to, at the moment, sort of forge some links. As I say, we're fairly new, but we're trying to get these things up and running, fairly quickly. So that's where that sort of funding is going to, and we're looking for, hopefully for other funding sources, and the schools themselves may be able to contribute some to this, so it allows us to sort of work along a wider range of schools as well. So I mean, if there's any other information you require from me, then please feel free to ask any questions.
Thank you very much. Members, do you wish to ask Mr. Seymour to clarify any part of this? Councillor Charlie Riches.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of points of clarity. You mentioned 10 schools. Are they, how far do you travel? I mean, would you come to Cheddar and Shipham and our area? And secondly, you mentioned that there is a potential of £250 per school from the LTA. Is that nailed on? Is that available? And once the school signs, you get £250?
In terms, well, let me start with the second point there. In terms of the funding for the schools, the funding is dependent on whether they do a sort of teacher training course, and I've actually just taken the qualification to do the sort of teacher tutoring. So what we're looking to do in conjunction with the South Somerset Active Sports Partnership is to try and set up a teaching program or teaching course for local primary school teachers and possibly secondary school teachers to try to get them to come on board. It's about a 3-hour course. And once they've done that course, then they can apply for they'll automatically get the £250 funding for the for their school, which they can either spend on equipment for tennis or for tennis provision within the school. So that's the way that program works. And it depends on them actually doing it. The legacy of that obviously is that hopefully we hope they continue to deliver tennis within school, even when there aren't necessarily coaches in there as well. So the teachers will have that training. As far as the area, I mean, as I say, we're fairly new. Cheddar and Shipper may be slightly out of our reach in terms of where we're going, because other clubs obviously are in that area. Sort of, Stephen Pearce does Cheddar Tennis Club, and I'm not sure the links they have with the schools over there. The 10 schools I mentioned within the document actually all fall sort of pretty much within the Burnham area, out as far as sort of East Huntsville, Limpsham, most of the sort of 3 or 4 primary schools in Burnham itself, and obviously King Alfred's the main secondary school here. Yeah.
Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, thanks for the answer, Tim.
Thank you. Now, Councillor Lee Redmond, you indicated your hand. Lee, are you there?
Yeah, hello, Chair. Sorry, my computer's on a go slow. I think am I here now?
Yes, I can see you now.
Bless. Thank you. Thank you for coming along, Mr. Seymour. I'm really interesting proposal. It's just about my interest is in relation to how you pick the young people that you're willing to support. So I'm assuming you'd be working with the schools, potentially with the Senko, so that they can signpost you to those that are most needy for it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, in terms of we do some sort of work with the Senko, but actually what we can actually do when we go into schools is actually do the entire class, in sort of one go. I'm currently doing some work with Burnham Infants, and I was there this morning, and we're doing all 3 of the primary classes. Many of them have sort of Senko students within those classes. But I say the skills, it's a lot of it is skills based, which are very, very good, across the whole range for those children. So, I mean, ultimately, hopefully, we'll actually get, with some of the after school clubs we're doing a couple of sessions already with East Huntsville, and there we're working with many of the sort of more children with more special needs.
Thank you, Chair. That sounds really exciting, actually. I thought it was just individual children, but now having heard that, it makes it even more exciting. So the more young people we can get interested and active, it's got to be a good thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
I mean, overall, depending on the sort of funding we can get from sort of grants or other sources, there is an opportunity, for us to sort of cover about. I mean, I think I worked out it's about 3,000 children within the Burnham area. So we can target as many of those as we possibly can. Mm.
Thank you. It's a truly inspirational scheme. Now, are there any other questions for Mr. Seymour? In which case we would pass straight. Oh, Lee,
if you need to, I was just going to say, if you need a proposer for this, I'm happy to propose that we make the grant.
Thank you. In that case, may we have a seconder? Councillor Charlie Richards, a second of the proposal. If there are no further questions, I'll go to the vote. Those in favour of granting the Avenue Tennis Club the sum required, they're asking for £2,400. Will all those in favour please indicate? That looks a unanimous vote in favour. So thank you all very much. Mr. Seymour, it's a truly inspirational project, and thank you very much for bringing it to us.
Thank you very much for the funding. Yes, we'll make sure we keep you updated and let you know how it all goes on.
A progress report from time to time would be very welcome, but don't forget, Sedgemoor ceases to exist on the 31st of March next year.
Right. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you ever so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming to see us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Our next speaker would be Mr. Hughes, who's talking about the Axbridge Pageant Trust. Is Mr. Hughes with us?
Yes, I am. Can you all hear me?
Yes, I can't see you though.
Oh, okay. Is that better? Can you see me now?
Yes, we can. Hello.
Okay.
Welcome to our meeting.
Okay.
Would you like to talk us through your proposal?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm here on behalf of the Axbridge Pageant Trust. We are a registered charity. I am one of the trustees, and I also have responsibility for fundraising. And this year, at the August Bank Holiday weekend, we're planning to hold the Axbridge Pageant 2022. This will be the first time we've held the pageant since 2010. It's 2 years delayed. We normally have it every decade, but because of COVID, we've had to cancel over the last 2 years. But we're confident that we'll be in a position to go ahead at the Bank Holiday weekend this year. For those people who don't know, the Axbridge Pageant is a story, a living story about the history of Axbridge, enacted in the historic square of the town. There are about 15 scenes depicting the various stages in our history from Roman times all the way through to the modern day. We have about 500 local people involved in the performance on the day, mostly dressed in period costumes, using period props. We have a lot of stage decoration. We perform in front of 600 people each day. These 600 people are seated in stage seating, creating a sort of amphitheatre experience. What else can I say? We've been working on the project for the last couple of years. Fundraising obviously is a key aspect because these things are not cheap to put on. However, we do have funding secured from local businesses. We've done our own fundraising activities. And we've also got a number of grant applications that have been submitted. So we're confident that we'll be in a position to proceed with the pageant at the Bank Holiday weekend. We're seeking a grant of £2,500 from Sedgemoor, and that will be equivalent to the cost of the staging that we need to have in place on which the performances will be staged. If there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Members, are there any points of clarification that you need on this presentation? I've been to them before and it's wonderful. Councillor Lee Redman.
So you have to excuse me, my computer seems to be on a go slow. I will try to put my camera on and it will play catch up hopefully. It's just some clarification really. So in relation to, you've got a number of bits, it's quite a large bill, the cost that this is going to, the whole pageant is going to have. And I noticed that there are a number of grants which are pending. So the question, Emil, first question is in relation to how certain are you that you're going to be getting the two big ones that are outstanding, your Arts Council and your Enable marketing sponsors on board? In the first question.
Well, we've had the Enable sponsorship confirmed. We've also got some other local businesses that have stepped in and are prepared to provide some scene sponsorship. We've put together a sponsorship strategy which offers local companies the opportunity to have their name associated with scenes, and that's proved to be popular. The Arts Council grant was unfortunately turned down. We have resubmitted that grant application. We won't hear until July. However, we've had to look at our ticketing policy to mitigate against the possibility we may not get that grant. It's not looking hopeful because it's clear that we haven't met their sort of current criteria. We are a strange phenomenon, really, in terms of the event. It doesn't quite fit any particular box, and it certainly doesn't seem to quite fit the current Arts Council criteria. So we're hopeful that we will be able to achieve the funding target, but well, we're confident, in fact, because we've priced our tickets such that that should be sufficient to close any shortfall from other failed grant applications.
Thank you,
Thank
Chair.
you.
I'm sure, Chair, that should we decide to go forward with this, any grant will be pending the appropriate finance being in place.
Mr. Hughes, on the Arts Council point that was mentioned, is the SEED the conduit for that?
No, it's not. No, it's not. We have had contact with SEED, but they've not been associated with our Arts Council grant application.
They might be a very useful and very helpful source of information if you need it.
Well, as I say, we have had some discussions with them over the last few months around help with our fundraising activities. We're still in contact with them, so I will be back in touch with them to see if they can offer any other advice regarding that application.
Thank you. Are there any further questions for Mr. Hughes? No, in which case, I'm going to put this to the vote. Councillor Graham Baldwin-Pearson?
It's a very exciting project. I'm very much looking forward to it, and only to say that actually, if you're looking for someone to propose, then I'm happy to do that. So
that's a proposal. May I have a seconder? Councillor Polly Costello seconded this application. It's been properly proposed and seconded. The sum that is being asked for is £2,500. For all those in favour, please will you indicate? That is a unanimous vote in favour. Thank you all very much. And thank you, Mr. Hughes, for coming to visit us. Please keep us informed of progress.
Yes, we will do.
And an invitation to the opening day.
Well, we can see about that, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Our next application with a speaker is the Wemden Village Hall Playing Fields Trust, and we have Catherine Seal, who's with us today. Catherine, good afternoon and welcome. Let me just turn over the last one. Right, got it. Would you like to lead us through your application?
Yes. So thank you very much for considering our application. We came to you at the beginning of our project and requested some grant funding towards the lift so that we could actually get disabled access to our upstairs room. So we've refurbished the upstairs space. We're in the process of completing that at the moment. We started the conversion because we wanted to give youngsters a space where they could have a warm, safe environment so that they could meet their friends after the restrictions that they suffered with COVID. Our first meetings of the group were November 2020, and we started everything on Zoom. With that, we all felt, probably as you do now, very restricted. The youngsters need to be able to see each other in a social environment. So we've created this space that they will be able to just meet their friends and interact socially again, learn to speak to others, and also consider others in a different environment. We were originally in talks with Young Somerset, and they were going to use our venue to host their youth club activities. And together with some volunteers that we had recruited at that stage of lockdown, we had quite a few people who were interested. Unfortunately, Young Somerset have so many other statutory obligations now because of the effects on young people, their well-being, their mental health. COVID had so many sort of negative effects. So we've kept in contact with Nick Harwood, the chief executive, and he put us in contact with an organisation called Youth Unlimited, So Youth Unlimited provide professional youth services, talking to young people, giving them advice on things like sexual health, well-being, talking about drugs, giving them education in an informal way. They would start doing this on a street-based activity on the terrace of the village hall. They're willing to do this on a voluntary basis, possibly starting on our village day in August. We're hoping that we'll get the facility open so that we can actually do a launch so that young people in the area can see the facility on the village day in Wemden, which is on the bank holiday. Youth Unlimited, unfortunately, come at a cost. That cost is £222 a session. For 36 weeks of a year, it's going to cost us £8,000 to have 1 week of sessions that 50, probably youngsters, because the upstairs space has fire regulations for 60 people. We want to be able to give youngsters in our area from Wemden and the surrounding areas an area that they can go meet their friends, but also if they need to discuss things confidentially with an adult, someone that's got experience to help them, give them support. There's children in broken homes who are creating a huge impact on the pastoral resources of the schools. Having somewhere they can go and just talk to their friends, someone that will just listen to them if they need that help. But obviously at the moment, all of our money has been in sort of upgrading the room. And so at the moment, there isn't this sort of £8,000 available to start committing to Youth Unlimited. But we are, as a group, passionate about helping young children, young people. And we've got a young lady from Haygrove School on our group, and she's so excited about this whole venture. And so we're sort of looking at getting information to the schools now after having done a survey to actually get children engaged. And hopefully by this education, they will actually stop some of the antisocial activity and vandalism damage around the village hall, and then get them to care about themselves, others, and sort of older people in the community. And also our lift is now working. So that's going to provide an environment that's open to everyone as well. So thank you ever so much, and I hope that you'll be able to consider our application.
Thank you. Members, would you have any questions for Catherine? I've got, it's not so much a question, it's just an observation. In a similar set of circumstances elsewhere, where there has been, again, this worry over how to give young people a direction and someone to talk to, we found that some of the housing providers have been very helpful and generous, Live West particularly, and I would strongly recommend approaching them for some sort of assistance, especially if it comes to, when you've got the children there, feeding them.
Yes, sorry, what was that organisation?
Live West is a social housing provider that used to be known as Nightstone.
Right, yes, I've heard of Nightstone.
And they do have community enabling officers who are very helpful and very knowledgeable in our experience in another area of Sedgemoor.
Yeah, children always like food as well, don't they? Because we've got a bar facility upstairs that we've created, so, and there will be a sort of food preparation area. So that sounds
food is necessary because very often these children are hungry.
They are, yes, that's right. Lovely, thank you. Thanks for that. That's really useful.
Councillor Lee Redmond.
Thank you, Chair. Catherine, thank you for taking the time to come back to us. I know when you came originally, that the plans were exciting to provide an area for young people specifically, and I know that within the Bridgewater area generally, after COVID, that our young people are struggling to find things to do. So I think your proposal is really exciting, and I hope that your other funding opportunities are a success. Just for clarity, are you looking to start off with 1 night a week in the first instance and then grow it, or are you hoping to get 2 nights a week off and running as soon as possible?
Yes, yeah, we're hoping that by introducing the street-based activity on Village Day. That will sort of start the process. Ideally, we would like 2, but if it means that we start 1, we then can sort of increase it as we get sort of more funding, and you know, we get sort of the business activities to help sustain it. And we are looking at longer term as well, with the Somerset Youth Alliance. So Craig from Youth Unlimited is involved there. So there's going to be a lot of meetings, but we want a sustainable, something that's going to support not only the coming years, but ones sort of following. So we've got a succession in place.
Thank you, Catherine. And Chair, if you need to, subject to any other members having any questions, I'm happy to make a formal proposal that we grant.
Thank you. We'll record that. Members, are there any further questions of clarity that you want from Catherine? No, in that case, that's just, we've got a proposer. Oh, sorry, Brian, I do apologise. I wrote you down and then overlooked you.
That's normal. No, I think it is very exciting, a very safe environment. I'd like to second that one. Thank you.
Thank you. So this proposal has been proposed and seconded. May I have a show of hands to all those in favour of the amount requested is £2,500. I can't. Oh yes, I can see your hand. That is everyone. Everyone has agreed. That is unanimous acceptance of your proposal.
Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate that. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Will you keep us updated on progress as you go along?
We will. Thank you ever so much. Take care. Thank you.
And thank you for visiting.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
We have no more speakers today other than Lizzie, who is one of our officers, who will be speaking up about the Apex podcast. I won't be here for that one. Could we move now to In Charlie's Memory, where there is no speaker? And perhaps, Emmeline, could you lead us through it?
Excuse me. Yes, of course, Chair, I will do so. So In Charlie's Memory, it's at the bottom of the agenda. Okay, so thank you very much. In Charlie's Memory is a charity. It is based around mental health counselling young people particularly. The project that they are looking at leading is due to a demand in their services post-COVID. If we are actually post-COVID, they've seen an exponential amount of people and youth particularly who are requiring their services. They want to refurbish a room so that they can expand their counselling suites to be able to support more youth coming through their channels. They are looking at a grant request of £2,000.
Thank you. Members, do you have any questions about this? Councillor Charlie Riches.
Thank you very much. Do we have any more information about the building where they're wanting to do the work? I'm sorry if I've missed this. Who owns the building and what is their long-term access to it?
So the building is actually already under their care and they want to refurb the inside of it so that they can provide more spaces, but it is actually already with them.
So once they've done this, they can continue to use it.
Absolutely.
For the foreseeable future. Okay, fine. And the other thing I was just asking about is they talk about working in 61 locations in the region. What does that entail?
Well, the 61 regions, it would be due to it covering their area will be Somerset, but the majority of their caseload is actually Bridgewater and surrounding areas location for the youth. So that's why they've come here.
So, but it could be people from other parts of Somerset or other parts of Sedgemoor could go there.
Yes, there is a provision for that to happen, but they're going to be working a lot more with the schools locally, which is why they are so their target audience is our local area as opposed to the rest of Somerset.
Yeah, I've got it. Thank you very much.
Are there any more questions about the detail of this application? No, in which case we'll put it to the vote. First of all, I'm quite happy to propose from the chair that they receive the full grant that they're asking for of £2,000. May I have a seconder? Councillor Alan Matthews seconding. So that has been properly proposed and seconded. May I have all those in favour, please indicate. That is a unanimous acceptance in Charlie's memory. If you would be kind enough to write to the memory to inform them. Thank you. Now, I'll cross that one off my list. On your agendas, you had an escape support group members. That has been withdrawn from today's list. So moving on, the next two really would be the next one. The Friends of Apex, and which I must.
Yes, Chairman, there's also the application A, which unfortunately I had Lizzie Ball named down beside of, but Down to Earth application A we need to consider as well, and then finally the Friends of Apex Park.
Oh, sorry, the Down to Earth. Oh, shall we do that one? We haven't a speaker for that one. That was first on my list. When I printed it off, I made the mistake of not making sure it flipped over on the long side, which meant it went down short side, which is very awkward. Emily, would you lead us through Down to Earth?
Absolutely, Chair. So this particular application arrived with us in the last year's worth of grants. At the previous meeting, it had been agreed to award this particular project based on the Down to Earth also applying to Bridgewater Town Council and the Recovery College. They also decided to defer their place because there wasn't quite enough funds left in the pot to cover what their grant request was. I can confirm that they have both put in an application form to Bridgewater Town Council and approached Recovery College. So they have succeeded in making those grant requests. And this is their opportunity to apply for the full amount again.
Thank you. Now, what they propose to do, the description of the project, there's a lot that they put the responsibility they're putting on themselves, and it's really one of those fundamental services that it's desperately needed, especially when you've got young carers. So are there any questions for Emmeline?
Can I just also add, sorry, Chair, can I also add that they're also supporting some refugees that have come to the area. There's been an organisation that have approached them to be supporting them as well. So their work is growing, ever growing actually, for this project.
Thank you. Councillor Lee Redmond.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. It was just to come in and say that they at the end of the last meeting, we were struggling to money and they were helpful to us and they've gone above and beyond what we asked them to do. And I really do think it's an exciting opportunity. And should you need it, if there's no members' questions, I'm happy to make a proposal that we grant.
Quite right. Thank you. Are there any further questions and comments? In that case, it's been properly proposed. May we have a seconder? Polly. Thank you. So that's proposed and seconded by Polly Costello. So all those in favour, would you please indicate? Thank you. That's a unanimous acceptance for the 2,500. Emily, if you would write to them to confirm and really congratulate them on such an imaginative project.
I will do so, no problem.
So I think that's all this small grants other than the Friends of Apex. So if I hand you over to Liz now to assume the chair, and Steve, if you could cut me off.
What I do, Councillor Keane, is the next item you've also got a personal prejudicial, the West Hants one. So I'll call you in after that.
Yes.
And I'll also call Councillor Matthews in after this particular project grant.
And you will be quorate for this.
Yes, we will, Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you later.
Yeah, it's probably easier, Councillor Keane, if you just want to click on your red leave button, it's probably the easiest than me trying to forcibly remove you. Thank you. Over to you, Councillor Perry.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Right, okay, yes, the Friends of Apex Park. Right, Lizzie, can you explain this project, please?
Yeah, hello everyone. The Friends of Apex Park Improvements Group is a voluntary group. They were established in 2001. Their aim is to provide opportunities for community members to improve and promote the use of Apex. Throughout the year, the Friends carry out daily tasks such as bulb and tree planting, litter picking, hedge clearing. They also organise family and children's events. Apex is also host to National Play Day, which the Friends always support and volunteer their help on the day. Play Day has become one of the biggest play days in Somerset, and in 2019, there was just over 7,000 children that attended on the day. The event is totally free for those that want to turn up. But unfortunately, due to COVID, we haven't had a play day for the past 2 years. So we're hoping that this year's play day is going to be the biggest and best yet, and that people are really going to want to come and turn out for it. Across the UK, thousands of children and families get to play at hundreds of community events, as well as a celebration of children's right to play. Play Day is a campaign that highlights the importance of play in children's lives. The Friends of Apex are applying for this grant to provide funding to pay for the activities, which we would like to take place in August this year. This year, to make it a bit different from previous years, we're hoping to get birds of prey, which are going to cost £780, and a family circus, which is an added cost of £200. Usually the costs of Apex add up to about £6,000. But as I'm sure you all know, with the cost of living and everything else going up, it's going to cost even more this year. So we are trying to get as much money as we can to put on the biggest and best play day we've ever had, really. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Have you got anybody got any questions to ask Lizzie? Councillor Riches.
Thank you very much. This sounds a really interesting, worthwhile, really fun project to include lots of people in the community. Yeah, really, really good. I see that you did have money from Sedgemoor for the 2019 Play Day, and I'm just wondering, I guess we had an evaluation of that, how that went. You know, that funding, how do we know, Chair?
No, I'm sorry, I don't know that. Lizzie, can you enlighten us on that one?
Sorry, can you repeat what you said? My microphone's really playing up and I'm only getting half of what you're saying.
Yes, certainly. There was funding given for a play day in 2019. According to the report, money was given in 2015 that was used for a play day in 2019.
Yeah, so I think Sedgemoor, the Friends of Apex apply for a grant most years towards Play Day, just to help towards costs. That's all, just because it's such a massive task to event and to plan and stuff. The £6,000 we need to gather from as many different sources as possible, and some of it is made up from donations of the previous year. So we usually ask for £1 a car if they park.
I see. Yeah, lovely. Thanks very much.
No problem.
Okay, has anybody else got any questions? I think this is well worth a good project. And could I have a proposer for this in full? Right, okay, thank you. I've got two. Okay, Councillor Bolt and a seconder. Councillor Godwin Pearson, thank you very much. And that's agreed in full? Can I have a, is that agreed in full? Thank you.
That's great, Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, I'm not quite sure Now, are we going on to the RLT3 projects?
Yes. Yes, Chairman. If we go on to that one, then I'll get Councillor Keane in after we dealt with that one.
Right, thank you very much.
I'm not too sure who's presenting the RLT3 application.
I've got a feeling it could be Lizzie again. I'm not sure.
Sorry, I'm having technical problems. I'm trying to speak and it's just not playing ball. Sorry, 2 seconds. Okay, so West Huntsville Parish Council are looking to put in a new ramp for their disabled loos at the Sports Pavilion. This will enable disabled access to make the area more inclusive for everybody. The total cost of the project is £4,879. They are asking for £3,903.20p, which is 80% of the total project cost. And then the parish council will fund the remaining £975.80. They've had a few parish councils supports, Puritan Parish Council supports, and so does Ashcott Parish Council. The sports area is really popular. Somerset Cricket use the grounds, and so do Huntsville Cricket Club. Local football teams play there, and the West Huntsville School use it. So it's going to have a huge audience for people going to the sports ground and using the toilets and stuff. And the disabled ramp is going to make the toilets accessible for everybody, so that even if you're not necessarily playing sport there, you can still spectate, you can still watch, and you can still be a part of the sporting community. And there's no planning permission required.
Right, thank you very much, Lizzie. Have anybody got any questions as to that? No, I can't see any. So I'm looking for a proposer, please. Thank you, Lee Redmond, and a seconder. Thank you, Brian. Right, all those in favour, can we thank you very much. So that's granted in full. Thank you very much. Right. Steve, is Councillor
I'm just trying to get her in now.
Yeah, she's back. Thank you.
If members would just be a bit patient for a second, I may have to give her a phone call. She may have gone for anticipated a larger break than we gave her.
Timing. I'm sorry if I've kept you waiting. Right, where are we? That's the Friends of Apex and the West Huntsville matter that has been
That's right, Chairman.
concluded. So the next item then would be item 7, the RLT3 funding. Let's get back that page up.
Now agenda item 8, Chairman, on page
Yes,
41.
I've got the reporting officer Sarah Down, but Lizzie Bull is going to lead us through it.
We've done that one, Chairman. That was the West Hunt Spill.
That was it. That was the West Hunt Spill. Next one down is item 8, RLT2 funding. Oh dear. It was much easier when we were face to face. Yeah, we've got it now.
Sorry, Janet. Councillor Redmond is hand up.
Thank you, Chair. It's just in relation. It's a question in relation to the RLT2 and RLT3 money. Obviously, as we move forward towards unitary, just some clarification of the funding. Obviously, anything that's left will be transferred, I suppose, into the new unitary. One would assume that officers are reaching out to some of the parishes and towns to remind them that there's some money there and for that.
I would hope so, and I think I have also circulated and asked all members if they would reach out to all the parishes that they have contact with and all the voluntary groups. But today I have actually written to Melanie Wellman and Steve, also with a copy to the chairman of, so the leader of council, Councillor Duncan McGinty, and to Bob Brown, the chief executive, to ask if our extraordinary circumstances of having only 8 months left of life would allow us, because our standing orders do say that no voluntary group can apply for more than 2 grants in any quadrennium. But as we haven't got a quadrennium, and we've only got 8 months, I'm asking if there's any way that that quadrennium could be condensed into 8 months. Therefore, that would allow people to apply twice. Now, I only wrote that letter today, and I think we need to wait for their thoughts as to whether we can or cannot, because I don't want to breach or in any way suggest we breach standing orders. Therefore, if standing orders stand in the way of doing what is best for our people, then perhaps that may be a matter for full council or the executive to amend certain clauses. Lizzie, you hands up.
I was just going to say to Councillor Redmond that I do send out 6 monthly updates to all parishes with a reminder of how much they've got to spend and that it is coming to an end. So they are aware. They're always welcome to contact me if they have any questions about it. But I am in contact with most parishes.
And also, I would ask all members, because every member has got some involvement with a voluntary group, and maybe many voluntary groups. Just put the word out, persuade them, anything they need that they're not going to get otherwise, get the applications through. The worst that can happen is that we could run out of money and say no. If they don't ask, they will never know. Defibrillator here, something else there, who knows? So, item 8, it is to note only and it's got the table there. I think, is there anything in the tables of the money that's available? Anyone would like to challenge the figures or question how they can be used? No, everyone is satisfied. Then again, the next.
Sorry, Chair. I think
Polly, yes.
Fellow, yes, has got a hand up.
Hello. Just to let you know that I, as soon as I can possibly get round to it, we will be applying for the Wedmore load of money in the RLT2, as I'm trying to get a teenage play area off the ground. So we are. I've just actually, Emmeline, I've just sent you an email asking if there's any other funds of any sort I can get, because I need quite a lot of money. But we've got phase 1 done, but we need to finish phase 2. So we will be getting that out ASAP before it gets swallowed up in a new unitary authority.
Yes, and in fact the pavilion you've got at Wedmore I think is brilliant. I've been there for a meeting for the Somerset Playing Fields Association, and I've been using that almost as an exemplar in another area where there is a possibility of something, because that building, the way it's configured, it suits not only a very nice and smart social use, but it feeds into the sport, so that people can have sports. They can come in and have showers in privacy, in proper up-to-date circumstances, after the rugby, the football, hockey, whatever. It's
I mean,
20th century.
The work and the fundraising that committee have put in has been phenomenal, and I know that they're trying really hard to get some SIL funding, I think, from Sedgemoor as well to finish the top floor. But yeah, it's inspirational, that building, I tell you. But yeah,
wonderful.
I'm about to go and talk to one of the organisers about how I can raise funds for my play area. But yeah, it's good.
Well, on the Wedmore line, the page up, there's just under £38,000.
Yeah.
If they've got a lift already?
No, that can't go to that. That can't go to sports. That's for play areas. That's mine.
Yeah.
I've had my eyes on that one for quite a while.
Okay. Lizzie, your hand is up.
I was just going to say to Councillor Costello that if you ask your neighbouring parishes for any RLT2 or 3 money, if they don't want to use it, they can gift it to you. I just need that in written consent in an email, and then I can sort it out and move the funds into the Wedmore pot, if that's any use to you.
Okay, I better have a look. I don't know who's got it. Yeah, I have tried that once before, and they weren't going to play ball. They suddenly came up with some brilliant idea that they'd never thought of.
Oh, well, if you need a hand, just send me an email. But yeah, ask some neighbouring parishes, and they'll be hopefully be able to transfer you some funds.
That'd be great. Thank you, Lizzie.
No problem.
Are there any more comments on the RLT2 items? And the last page being the locations of some projects. And here we go, Wedmore again. Yes, just under 38,000. If that is the end, this is where we would come back to our urgent business, which is the Cheddar Parish Council application. Because it was only during lunchtime that the report was circulated, would members like a 10-minute break to digest it before we start talking about it?
Chair, I managed to, and I'm happy for us to proceed. If the officer wants to speak to it, we can ask them questions as we go.
The officer author is Julie Cooper, and Charlie, yes? You're blunted.
I can see I'm muted, yes. Just to say that I'm the ward member, but I believe this is about policy and not about an individual project.
So I agree.
Thank you.
I don't think our legal advisor would quarrel with that. But does anyone want some extra time to read and digest the detail of the report? Because if not, then we'll go straight into it. That seems to be the meat of the business. So we have Julie Cooper, who's got a long experience of dealing with village halls. She's with us now. Julie, would you be kind enough to lead us through the report as you've written it?
Yes, we really were just bringing the report in the interests of transparency. As you may remember, executive delegated authority to grants awards subcommittee to set the criteria for the village hall grants, and then the grants committee then gave delegated authority to obviously the chair of the grants committee, which is Councillor Janet Keane, and to Teresa Harvey as the assistant director for housing, communities and wellbeing. As I said, we normally in all of our grants request that there is some contribution from the parish or the town council, and that is because we really want village halls to get support of the local parish council. It's a way of facilitating those groups to access their preset funding for a very important local facility. So as part of our current grants scheme, we do say we expect there to be a realistic contribution from the town or parish council, and we don't set a amount, because obviously parish councils and town councils vary massively in size. So we already have discretion within that delegated authority to determine what size of a contribution for the town or parish council should be proportionate to the grant and the size of the electorate. And we've never really had any issue with the parish council or town council being able to provide funding. But in this specific instance with Cheddar, because the village hall, even though it's very much a community facility, it is not just for church use. Because it is owned by the church, the parish council have had to say that they aren't allowed to fund something that's ecclesiastical. So that is a legitimate reason why they can't fund. But as it hasn't occurred before, we just wanted to bring this report before you, as I say, in the interest of transparency, to explain the reasons why in this situation, even though the project fits what we would like to see provided in all other respects, that we can't expect the parish councils to go against their legal obligations and provide a grant. So that's just to sort of set that out. So just as a belt and braces approach, and as I said, in the interest of transparency, what I've done in the report is explain to members these circumstances, explain why the parish council, even though they're very supportive of the project, can't meet that criterion in the delegated grant scheme. So we're asking members if they will just agree really to waive that requirement, and just in case in the current grant scheme we haven't got a lot of money left in it now, another church hall comes along, belt and braces. If we do it for Cheddar and there's a solid reason why they can't fund, we can do that for another village hall who might be in similar circumstances. So that's the sort of context of the report. As I say, it's not the parish council don't want to, it's because they can't. So I'm happy. I don't know, Dorothy, if you would like to say anything at this point, or you think I've covered what you like me to cover?
I have no additional comments to make. The issue is really whether, to ask members whether in circumstances where the parish council are unable for legitimate reasons to not fund should a project fail, or are you prepared to support officers in saying, well, there are unusual circumstances present, they are legitimate reasons, but we still nevertheless think that discretion should be exercised to support a particular project. Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Graham Gordon-Pearson, you have a question?
I have a hand. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, that one of the things I've learned in my short time in politics is there's an exception to every rule. There
This is not the first.
No, No, and there are exceptions to the exceptions, I mean, I think isn't for me, it's a no-brainer that, you know, if parish council can't contribute, then we have to make provision for that, as we make provision for other things.
Thank you. In fact, what I do to recall, I think it was around about this time last year, we had a very similar request from All Saints Church in West Huntsville, because they wanted to create a community section with all the facilities for there, and we had no problems with that. Councillor Redmond.
Thanks, Chair. It's a couple of points, really. So then a point of clarification, maybe from Julie. I support the comments of Councillor Goodwood Pearson, actually, in the fact that this is a findings, and I don't see any issues with it. It's just some clarification, really. First of all, obviously, I note in the report that in February a fund of £500,000 was agreed. And I don't know whether it was a slip of the tongue, Julie, but you did say something along the lines, there wasn't much money left, which then made me think to myself, hang on a second, let's seek some clarification there. So, and the second point was in relation to the rest of the fund. I know that this grants committee have delegated decision making to people, but it might be worth, Chair, could I ask that a report be brought to the next meeting for the spending of that, so that we can at least be seen to know where the money is going, and follow on meetings from that, if possible, please.
Thank you. Dorothy, could you comment on that?
Thank you, Chair. I think Julie could comment on that more ably than I.
Well,
thank you.
with the new fund, the 500k, the current scheme is probably, if we fund Cheddar, probably has a bit less than 10,000 left in it, and we've already got a grant come through actually for Bridgewater, and we're ring fencing, if there is anything left after those two go through, which is highly doubtful, that money towards urban halls, because the new funding scheme of the 500k that was announced on the 24th of February was only for rural village and community halls. That was something that council agreed, and last week I took a report to executive to say how would that be administered and agree the criteria, because it's a completely new scheme, and that the criteria for that has been agreed by executive, and there is going to be a closing date for that, which will be in September, to give all the halls enough chance to put in an application. And then there's delegated authority again to the same group to make decisions onto those grants, and I'm going to report to executive in September about that grant allocation, just to see if then we need to amend them or do something differently. So in essence, that reporting procedure has already been agreed, and we don't have anything happening with the new scheme until September anyway, and then a report will go to executive. I mean, I could jointly come and two grants and report it, the same report, if you want me to, in September, if that would be of value. But
clarification, really, because it seems to me, so that's two separate funds. So the original fund that you were talking about is referencing 3.3, and the new fund is something separate.
That's right. It is confusing. It is confusing because we've got the tail end of, we didn't get any new money put into the current scheme. We get it topped up by another 35k a year. We do that, but we so that the existing criteria that we've talked about today about parish council contribution is for the scheme that's winding down in effect, and then there's in a way a break, and then the new 500k, which has been agreed by the processing, has been agreed by executive, comes into being. So it is a bit confusing. I'm sorry, you're right. I tried to make it clear, but it's not very clear, but that's how it works. I hope that's clarified things.
Thank you.
So there will only be one after we've spent the last of the current scheme, of which Cheddar will be a part of the current scheme, not the new starting next month.
Councillor Brown-Bolt.
Again, it is possibly in the report, but it's only been skim read. Any other applications from village halls would there would still be the requirement, if it wasn't a church property and they could contribute, that the parish councils or town councils would still be expected to contribute.
No, in the new scheme, we've streamlined it. Reason being is that if we don't commit the money this financial year, we cannot guarantee that the funds will be available in the new council. It'll be up to them. So because we've got a shorter timescale, we aren't asking for match funding from anywhere. They can apply for 100% of the funding if they want to, up to 50,000. I mean, obviously bigger projects, halls will have to go and get funding from other grant funders, but because the situation is different, as we're winding up Sedgemoor, then match funding won't be a requirement. So it won't be an issue after these last couple of grants in the current scheme.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions? No, in which case I remind you the recommendation is that the grants subcommittee allows discretion within the current scheme of delegated authority to the Assistant Director of Housing, Communities and Wellbeing in consultation with portfolio holder, which is me, chair of grants, etc., to allow discretion within the village halls and capital grant scheme for a contribution from the town and parish councils to be waived if there is a good justification for this being problematic to achieve. Now, may I have a proposer that this recommendation is accepted? Liz Perry has proposed. May I have a second? Graham, would you like to second? Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Graham Godwin-Pearson. All those in favour of the recommendation, please show. That looks to be a unanimous acceptance for this matter. Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Charlie.
Yeah, just to say, I guess that there may or may not be an opportunity in our area to apply for the Jubilee grants which have been announced. I see online that, you know, the government have allocated 3 million for village halls to celebrate the Jubilee. And as is with these things, at the moment, all it says is details of how they will be administered will be released in future. So let's hope that perhaps Somerset can get some of it.
Yeah.
Yes, and what the county council will allocate out to the districts.
Although 3 million for the whole of the country isn't very much if you're thinking about doing a new village hall. From the ground up.
Have been a lifeline over the last 2 years. Without that facility, a lot of people would have had far greater.
Was it 3 million or 30 million?
Let's have a look. I'm just checking. I did have it here just now.
Keep an eye on it, definitely.
It says new. Oh, it's only 3 million. I'm sorry, new 3 million for 100 village halls. So you're right. It's not
a lot.
When you divide it up, it's perhaps not so as exciting as I first thought.
Well, we've got
every little helps, as they say.
In, if you add in all the community halls, we've probably got at least that in Sedgemoor.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you to everyone for your attendance and your attention. There's no further business, therefore I would declare the meeting closed at 15:42. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.